Hey YouTube, I went to cut an angle on my lathe today and I found that the angle slide was totally jammed. So I've made a video of how I went about fixing it. I hope it might help you one day. Well, for the first time since I got this lathe, I've actually wanted to cut an angle. And I found that this is just jammed and she's really super loose. So I guess there's nothing much for it but to take this off and see what's gone wrong underneath. I'm guessing it's got some rust on it. The old man couldn't look after properly towards the end. And I suppose when I got it I should have pulled it all apart and oiled it up, but I didn't. I just dropped oil in all the oil ports. So now I've got to find out what's wrong. Next day I'm back to having a look to see what I can do with this. The CRC, or WD-40, I squirted around it, spread out over my welding table, but has done nothing to free this up. The problem is that the tracks, as I thought, have gummed up, probably with oil that's dried out or something. There's no rust there. Everything else is movable, just the tracks are causing the issue now. Well, plan A was to squirt this liberally with CRC, that's WD-40 in case you don't know, and leave it soak overnight for it to seep into all the nooks and crannies in the hopes that it would dissolve some grease that had hardened up over the years and jammed it all up. Well, plan A hasn't worked, so I guess the next thing now is to get on with plan B. And of course plan B has to be to disassemble it into all of its component parts and clean them up individually. And now that I've got this far and found that nothing else wants to come apart, I guess I have to declare plan B a bit of a failure as well. So plan C is next. And plan C is also what you might call the plan of last resort. I'm going to sit this whole thing in a bath of WD-40 until such times it dissolves the hardened grease or whatever it is binding it up and lets me get it fully disassembled. Well YouTube, I got this apart in the finish and I'm very sorry that I didn't have the camera on when I did it, because it sort of surprised me how it came apart. There's no way this was moving, and this wedge here fits in here like this and it's held in by the screws on either end, which I took out. I thought, I wonder if I hit that with a drift if this will come out, and it did. Took a little bit because it was still stuck in there with the old oil and gunk that had sort of seized it all up, but I did eventually move it, and after I got it moved maybe 4 inches or so, 100 mil, it just fell out, and then the rest of it came apart, and that was pretty simple. Now I'm just going to clean it all up and make sure all that old oil and gunk that caused all this problem is off of it, and then I'll oil it up with some light oil and put it back together. There's no sign of rust on it anyway, so it was just all old dried up oil that had seized it up. Never had a trace of rust on it. Some really fine metal dust in here too. But it's mainly on the interior, nothing really on the sliding area. It's on the bits where there was no real contact. It used to get cleaned down with an air compressor. And of course that was back in the day before there was the internet and Google and YouTube, but since I've started using them I saw a couple of things on the internet. It says you should never use an air compressor to clean the lathe or anything like that, because the pressure of the air pushes tiny particles of metal up in parts of the lathe that were never intended to, and the design of the lathe, if you just wipe it down, the design of the lathe prevents it from going there naturally. But if you push it in with a air compressor, then of course it gets a lot of gunk in places that were never meant to have gunk. As I say, he didn't know any better. He did a good job of cleaning it up, and he always oiled his equipment down, kept it in good working order. But you know, I just thought I'd share that in case you hadn't seen it anywhere else. I can see the evidence that what they say has some basis in fact. Otherwise I'm pretty sure that there's no way that dust could have got up on the inside of this without it being pushed there behind an air blast. It just doesn't climb uphill by itself. I was beginning to despair that the WD-40 would actually do the job. If it hadn't come off today, I was going to take the WD-40 away and substitute in a mixture of acetone and brake fluid, which I've been reading up on Google. Does a very good job of releasing things like this that have been stuck up with gummed up oil and grease. I will state that this has been soaking for nearly 2 weeks. It's 2 days shy of 2 weeks, and the reason it got left for so long is that I've been working 12 or 14 hour days for the last couple of weeks, and I haven't been out in the shed to do anything. Get these times that happens. Back there now. I've got a 4-day weekend, which was just part of the reward for the extra effort, so that lets me catch up on a little bit of this stuff that got neglected. Let's face it, it's a hobby. It's not that critical. More important things to get your work done, but certainly nice to be out here again doing some of this, and really nice to have had some success on getting this thing back in working order. After 2 weeks, I hope I remember how this goes back together. The one saving grace is that I always lathe parts out on the bench in some semblance of how they came apart. Now, I'm pretty sure there's no need for me to throw that WD-40 out. If I leave that sit there for a couple of days, the sediment in there will settle. I can put it back here, and I wouldn't use it for anything critical, but where I've got to clean up a rusty tool or anything, I'll keep this bottle for that. You know what they say, waste not, want not. Where do I put that other piece? I think I must have left it in the soup. Yes, thankfully I did. It's always a worry when you've got a missing piece. It's always a worry when you've got too many pieces when you're finished. So it's like the story of Goldilocks, it's got to be just right. It's late now, I'm not going to assemble it back onto the lathe tonight. I'll leave that until the morning. Got him working, that's the main thing. I can put him back together in the morning and the lathe will be operational again. I have a few jobs waiting for it, and well, actually I was in the middle of a job when I found that this was broken. You know how one job leads to another, happens a lot. Looking down at the top of the cross slide on the lathe, and I'm just going to clean this up before I put the angle piece, whatever you call it, back on. Got very old oil in there, certainly been there for a long time. Looking as though it's not far off gumming up either. Clean the bulk of it off with a tissue and toss that out. Alright, so got that cleaned out quite nicely. Let's do some of the surrounds while I'm here. Alright, let's see about putting this all back together now. A light coat of oil all around the mating surfaces. Before we put this bit back, I'll give him a clean too. Actually looks as though he's had a bit of water in the oil here. Still plenty of oil, there's no rust, but the oil's got that look of oil that's had water mixed in with it at some stage. And just giving it a bit of a spray with WD-40, trying to use that to loosen some of this gunk on here. Fair indication that there's been water mixed in with there at some stage. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I've never pulled one of these apart before, so I found it quite interesting the way it's put together. One side of the rails is actually a wedge, and that allows you to adjust it to maintain the tolerances on the lathe. It's a brilliant idea, really. It just took me a little bit by surprise. If you'd like to see more of my projects and videos, go to my YouTube channel or browse to my website. Don't forget to click like and subscribe for more. Until next time.